For more than 3 decades, Harvey Weinstein was one of the most powerful and influential figures in Hollywood. As a co-founder of Miramax Films and later the Weinstein Company, he played a central role in producing and distributing some of the most acclaimed films of all time, shaping the modern awards season and redefining independent cinema. Weinstein was known for his aggressive Oscar campaigns, his volatile temper, and his ability to make or break careers with a single phone call. To many aspiring actors and filmmakers, he represented opportunity. To others behind the scenes, he represented fear. What few outside the industry understood at the time was that Weinstein's power was allegedly being used not just to control films, but to exploit, coerce, and silence women for decades. The scandal that would eventually destroy Weinstein's career was not sudden. It had been building quietly, hidden beneath box office success, critical acclaim, and a culture of silence that protected powerful men while marginalizing those who dared to speak out. Harvey Weinstein's influence extended far beyond movie sets. He controlled access to auditions, film financing, publicity, and awards recognition, elements essential to building a successful acting career. According to numerous survivors, Weinstein frequently used this power imbalance to target young actresses, assistants, and industry employees who were early in their careers and had little leverage. Meetings were often arranged under the guise of professional opportunities, but many women later described being invited to private hotel rooms or secluded offices where the situation quickly became uncomfortable or threatening. Survivors testified that Weinstein allegedly relied on intimidation, manipulation, and psychological pressure rather than overt force in many cases. Women described freezing in fear, unsure how to escape without risking retaliation. Others said they complied out of fear that refusing him would end their careers before they even began.
Here I was, a young local news anchor who was kind of desperate to be taken seriously at the time.
In 2007, 28-year-old Lauren Sivan was working on Long Island when she had a chance encounter with Harvey Weinstein at a dinner party.
He asked me what I did. I told him I worked in news.
She says that night, Weinstein asked her if she wanted to tour his New York City restaurant. She agreed.
You know, he was so warm and so friendly and so complimentary. I didn't get anything that read he was dangerous until we got downstairs.
And what happened?
He tried to kiss me, and I pushed him off.
Prosecutors later argued that this pattern revealed a deliberate strategy, one that depended on Weinstein's reputation, power, and the industry's willingness to look away. For years, Weinstein's behavior remained an open secret in Hollywood. Rumors circulated quietly among agents, executives, and journalists, but few were willing to challenge him publicly. According to investigations, Weinstein allegedly used confidential settlements, non-disclosure agreements, and aggressive legal threats to silence accusers. Women who spoke up were often warned that they would be blacklisted, sued, or destroyed professionally. In some cases, financial settlements were paid quietly, with strict confidentiality clauses that prevented victims from telling their stories. This legal strategy allowed Weinstein to continue operating without public consequences, while survivors were left isolated and traumatized. The silence surrounding his actions was not accidental. It was carefully constructed and actively maintained. In October 2017, that silence finally collapsed. Investigative journalists from the New York Times and the New Yorker published extensive reports detailing decades of sexual harassment, assault, and abuse allegations against Harvey Weinstein. The stories were supported by documents, interviews, and corroborating evidence that revealed a consistent pattern of predatory behavior. What made these reports different was their scope and credibility.
New Yorker magazine reporting new claims of sexual harassment, assault, and rape. One of his accusers going to police, secretly recording her confrontation with Weinstein. But no charges were ever filed. And now Hollywood actors Gwyneth Paltrow and Angelina Jolie are breaking their silence,
The newest bombshell accusation against Harvey Weinstein from Gwyneth Paltrow. She was 22 years old, and Weinstein had just cast her in a role that would catapult her career. Paltrow tells the New York Times the movie mogul summoned her to his hotel suite for a meeting, then allegedly placed his hands on her and suggested they head to the bedroom for massages. The actress says she refused, and later told then-boyfriend Brad Pitt, who confronted Weinstein.
Dozens of women came forward, many of them well-known actresses, assistants, and former employees. Their accounts shared striking similarities: hotel rooms, coercion, threats, and retaliation. Within days, the public response was overwhelming. Weinstein was fired from the Weinstein Company, expelled from industry organizations, and abandoned by longtime allies. Hollywood could no longer pretend it didn't know.
Harvey Weinstein's star is falling fast. Now more than 40 women, including some of the world's most famous stars, are accusing the disgraced Hollywood mogul of sexual misconduct or worse. The allegations stretching across international waters as the investigation grows. And now the president of France weighing in, saying he intends to strip Weinstein of the prestigious French Legion of Honor award.
The exposure of Harvey Weinstein did more than end one man's career. It sparked a global reckoning. Survivors across industries began sharing their own stories using the hashtag #GalMeToo, a phrase that became synonymous with accountability and resistance against abuse of power. What had once been whispered privately was now being spoken publicly, loudly, and collectively. The Weinstein scandal forced conversations that many institutions had avoided for years. Workplaces reevaluated policies. Legal standards were questioned. And the culture of silence that protected abusers began to fracture. Weinstein had become a symbol, not just of individual wrongdoing, but of systemic failure. In 2020, Harvey Weinstein faced criminal trial in New York. Prosecutors presented testimony from women who described years of trauma, manipulation, and fear. They argued that Weinstein used his dominance within the industry to trap victims in situations where consent was impossible. The defense attempted to portray the encounters as consensual, but the jury ultimately rejected that narrative. Weinstein was found guilty of rape and criminal sexual acts and sentenced to 23 years in prison, a dramatic and historic downfall for a man once considered untouchable. Additional convictions in California followed, adding to his sentence and ensuring that his power would never return. For survivors, the verdict was not just a legal victory, it was acknowledgement.
The Weinstein case propelled the issue of sexual assault and the Me Too movement into the national spotlight. Many women felt compelled to share their stories, inspired by the courage of others. One former sex crimes prosecutor believes the Me Too movement took a crucial step forward today.
Women who were raped and sexually assaulted by Harvey Weinstein never thought that they would see justice. And yet today they did.
Though Weinstein is behind bars,
we still have a criminal justice system that in too many cases doesn't believe women, doesn't believe survivors, doesn't take action against perpetrators. There's still a long way to go. This verdict sends a message, I hope, to all survivors that if you speak out and have courage, maybe your day will come too.
The Weinstein case forced Hollywood to confront uncomfortable questions about its own role in enabling abuse. How many people knew? How many rumors were dismissed? How many careers were sacrificed to protect one powerful man? Studios, agencies, and executives faced criticism for prioritizing profits and prestige over safety and accountability. While reforms were introduced and reporting mechanisms improved, critics argue that the changes came only after irreversible harm had already been done. The scandal exposed how deeply entrenched power structures can protect wrongdoing when left unchecked. The story of Harvey Weinstein is not simply about one man's crimes. It is about how power operates when accountability is absent, and how silence can be weaponized to protect abusers. It is a story of careers derailed, lives permanently altered, and justice delayed for decades. Weinstein's conviction sent a clear message. Influence does not equal immunity, and no amount of success can erase the truth once it comes into the light. For years, Harvey Weinstein moved freely through Hollywood's most exclusive spaces, shielded by fame, money, and fear. But silence has limits, and when it finally breaks, it exposes everything it once concealed. This case changed the way the world understands power, abuse, and accountability. It forced institutions to listen. It gave survivors a voice. And it reminded society that justice, even when delayed, is still possible. If you want more deeply researched celebrity crime documentaries, courtroom breakdowns, and true crime stories that focus on facts, impact, and accountability, make sure to subscribe, like, and share this video. Because these stories aren't just about Hollywood, they're about power, truth, and the courage to speak when silence is no longer an option.